Well, hello and happy Saturday. I am so excited, and I've been wanting to bring this guest to you, my friend, Garrison Calderon. So first, I know the way that Zoom records is it kind of shows me and then, it only shows the speaker. So I want to get him on the camera really quick. So Garrison Calderon, welcome.
Thank you, Paul. What an honor it is to be sharing with you this opportunity, be talking one of my favorite books. I remember when I first met you and I hear you teaching this book, I said, this is the man I got to learn from. So it's an honor to be here with you today. I'm so excited about it.
Well, thank you. And you're a giant in the empowered living community. For everybody who may not know, if you're new to empowered living, Garrison is the president of Empowered Living Espanol. He built the entire Spanish platform. He translates all of our teaching. He is our go-to guy in empowered living for the Spanish-speaking community. And if you really want to grasp the principles in this book from someone who has walked it, outside of myself, I don't know of another person other than Garrison who has really walked this book. Garrison, before we start, share, just give us an abbreviated version of just your story and how you got where you are. Give us a little piece of your childhood, some of the transitions you had to go, and then where you are now in your life.
Thank you, Paul. And you know what, Paul? Especially this chapter that we are gonna be speaking today about it's a chapter that really speaks to me, because my life has been based on making decisions all my life. And the first decision that I had to make was when I was 5 years old. That's when my family abandoned me and I started living on the street. And I had to make a decision right there. And the decision that I made was, I got to survive. I got to keep living one day at a time. So that was one of my biggest decisions I had to make. And then when I was living on the street, sleeping on a park, on a porch, whenever the night caught me, that was my house that night. So that's how I started making a living, just living one day at a time, just trying to survive one day at a time. So that was one of my biggest decisions that I make. And my life went through failure to failure, another failure. So I was trying to make a living, but I didn't have no family. I didn't have nobody to support me, nobody to give me an advice. So I kind of grew up in a struggle life, and it was based on making decisions. And some of them was really bad. Nobody taught me how to make a good decision. So most of my decisions were really bad. And how I came to this book, well, I kind of immigrated from Nicaragua. I was born in Nicaragua, and Nicaragua was going through a civil war by the mid 80s and 90s. So I emigrated from Nicaragua to Costa Rica, and I was 11 years old. I was a grown old man with 11 years making my own decisions. So I made a decision to come to Costa Rica. And when I came to Costa Rica, Paul, a Costa Rican family adopted me, but I was a street guy. I was from the hood. I was from the street. I was not used to living under somebody else's rules. So what I did, I flew away from the house and I went back to live on the street. So I came to live in San Jose, which is the capital, Costa Rica. And I was living in a bad neighborhood here in Costa Rica. So that's how I live. And I thought kind of, Paul, my mindset was like life was not good for me, or like kind of God picked me to be the worst thing in the world. So that was kind of my mindset. And one of the decisions I had to make was how I switched from that poverty mentality to a growth mentality. And that's how I came into this book after I got deported from the United States. I was 32 years old when I got into this book. And I don't know, I heard you saying it might be some divine intervention, something like that. I guess God put this book on my hand, and this book changed my life.
Wow, amazing. I mean, we hear of the stories of kids who are in South America and other places around the world who are 5 years old, 6 years old, these street kids. And I know you lived that life and made your way to the United States. And then, I know now that you're back, you now have a very successful business. Tell everybody about the business that you operate now.
I have I have four business. I have which one that is on this industry, personal development and human potential. But I have a main business which is in telecommunication, one of the biggest communication operator in Latin America. I have a business here in Costa Rica. I got like I don't know all my employee, but I got like 300 and some employees. So it's that big. So right now we are making over 2 million a year in this company. But that's how I build it, and I build all those business based on this book, based on these principles of this book. And I can tell you, Paul, I remember when I was living in one of the dangerous place here in Costa Rica, which is called La Carpio. La Carpio is a ghetto, is a dangerous place. The day they don't kill somebody there, the people get kind of sad because they say something is wrong here. Is that dangerous? Is dangerous like that? And based on this book, when somebody suggests me to read this book, this applying these principles is the way how I build those business. But the very, very first thing I did was build myself, build my self-esteem, build my self-image, how I see myself. Because like the way I grew up, I didn't believe in myself and I didn't believe in nobody else, because my mentality was just a survival mentality. Was if anybody comes close to me, I was trying to protect myself, but because for me, my mentality was they trying to hurt me. So, and for me to build those business, I had to build myself first. And I gotta credit that to the principle on these books.
Yeah. When you went through the book, you said that the first decision you made was the decision that he asks everybody to make after reading the book. Share that.
Yeah, sure, Paul. You know what? I was kind of a skeptical guy. I didn't believe in nothing because I have seen so many things on the street. I was kind of in the middle, all kind of negativity and all that. So I was a skeptical guy. I was kind of didn't believe in nothing. I was kind of like I knew it all. I already live it all. So when I read this book, to tell you the truth, I throw it to the trash. I say, like, you know what? This guy is... And I throw it to the trash. But for God's sake, I didn't take my trash outside to the garbage man to take it. So I went back to the trash can and get the book back. Because for me, when I started reading this book and he started talking about desire, and he started with a big question: what do you want the most? If fame, money, and he started with this big question. He said, what do you want the most? What do you want the most in your life? So for me, it was like, I'm gonna follow what he's saying, but just to prove that this principle doesn't work in me. It might work in the United States because, I used to live in the United States. So I said, it might work in the United States, but not here in Costa Rica, not here in this neighborhood, not with Garrison. So I was trying to be the kind of the laboratory rat to see if it doesn't work with me. So the first decision that I made, and he'll point that out here in this chapter on decision. He said the first decision you gotta make, it is when you finish reading this book, is applying the principles on this book. So the first decision that I made was making the decision of what I want to make out of my life, what I really wanted. That was the first big decision I made. And then I start following the principles, because this book for me is a manual. It's not a read-to book. For me, it's a how-to book. It's a manual. In every chapter, you will find pieces that he said, do this, do that. It's a to-do book. For me, was that. Then what I did was write down my purpose, my goal, what I wanted, my vision, how I see my life being, and then I start following the principles and the steps he suggests, especially on chapter 2. That's what I did for on this book. And then suddenly, it was like 6 months later, my economy started changing. Opportunity started came. I was like, but I didn't know. To tell you the truth, I didn't know what happened. I just knew something was happening, because business was growing, like my relationship with other people was growing. I was getting to know new people, so new thing was happening, but I didn't knew what was happening.
Yeah, we make that change in our vibration, and we it's at an unconscious level. In the book, we're on page 163 on line 9. He says, analysis of several hundred people who had accumulated fortunes well beyond the $1 million mark disclosed the fact that every one of them had a habit of reaching decisions promptly and of changing these decisions slowly, if and when they were ever changed. He says people who fail to accumulate money without exception also have a habit of reaching decisions, if at all, very slowly, and changing these decisions quickly and often. I think for entrepreneurs, because you and I are both entrepreneurs and you and I both use this book as that manual. For me, I think for an entrepreneur who has the habit of indecision, that habit is held in place because of a lack of vision. If you don't have a vision, if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a target, making decisions is going to be because every single decision then has so much weight to it, because you don't know where it's going to lead you. But if you know what you want, then it's very simple. You look at the decision and you say, is this decision in harmony with where I want to go? If I act on the idea, will it move me closer? And if it does, you go. And if you lack that level of vision, if you lack that level of what you said, purpose, he calls it the chief aim in life. If you haven't done the 6 steps in desire, then I don't know how you'll ever be able to make a decision, because decisions, if you think about it, decisions are behavior, and what drives behaviors are beliefs. Talk about the idea of habits of decision making and how that's belief driven.
Yeah, sure, Paul. And you are the one who taught me this, because you got a teaching that is called that everything we do is based on a learning model. So and there's 3 bases that hold this learning model: belief, awareness, and the principle within this learning model. So what hold in place, and what I like what you just read from line 9 to 14. He mentioned 2 times the word habit. So like you said, those habits are held by a belief, and belief drive our behavior. So how do you think a person who think is a failure, who think he will never aim to something like, will behave like a failure? So in making decisions, so our decisions are held by habit. So we might have a habit of failures. We might have a habit of procrastinating all the time, and that's keep us back from getting what we really want. And the biggest decision we gotta make is define, like Napoleon Hill say, define what you really want. Be clear of what you really want, and nobody else can tell you what you really want. Some people might suggest you what you should want, but nobody else really know what you really want inside, because those desires are motivated by your belief. And what kind of belief I'm holding about me, that I can amount to something, or I cannot amount to something. I can be somebody, or I'm not nobody. So for example, my belief was that I was nobody, that I was dumb, that I grew up on the street, that Not even my family care about me. So who else is going to care about me? So not even God. If you God care about me, why he put me in this situation? Why he put me with this family that didn't care about me? So that was kind of my mentality, and that was kind of my mindset and my belief. And our belief drive our behavior. So that's the very first thing we gotta do is make that switch, make that change from and change that belief and change it for a growth belief, for a growth mentality.
Yeah, that's so true. You talk about, because it seems like everybody has, everybody has an opinion about what we should want in our lives. And he talks about that on line on page 164, line 27. He says, a majority of the people who fail, listen to this, a majority of the people who fail to accumulate money sufficient for their needs are generally easily influenced by the opinions of other people. Now, just stop for a second, because I think obviously there's two things he's saying. One is the obvious. The obvious is that if you let other people's opinions define you, that could lead to failure. But the other thing here is he's saying this is a guy who spent 20 years studying 25,000 people. He worked
Fail. People that fail.
People that failed. And 500 of these people who failed ended up becoming the most successful people: Edison, Ford, Rockefeller. So after studying for 20 years, studying 25,000 people, he's saying that a majority of the people who failed to accumulate money fail because of the opinions of other people, not because of a lack of education, not because they lack skill, talent, or ability, not because there isn't an opportunity, not because of the government, not because of competition, not because of their employees, not because of their husband or their wife. They fail because of the opinions of the opinions of other people. They permit the newspapers and the gossiping neighbors to do their thinking for them. Opinions are the cheapest commodities on earth. Everyone has a flock of opinions ready to be wished upon anybody who will accept them. And if you are influenced by the opinions of other people when you reach decisions, you will not succeed in any undertaking, much less that of transmuting your own desire into money. That is just so, because, I don't know about you, but, our backgrounds are similar. You were abandoned at 5 years old. I grew up in a pretty violent, unhappy, unloving home. The home of my childhood was not safe physically or emotionally. We both, did terrible in school, so we both failed. You and I both did the worst job in the world. We were both roofers, right? And we both at probably the same age in our lives, around our early 20s, mid to early 20s, somebody gave us this book. And if you looked at my life up until Patrick Hayes was mentoring me through this book, I lived my life through opinion polls. Whenever a decision, whether I should take a job, not take a job, do this or do that, I would ask everybody, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? What do you think? I was always so controlled about what other people think. Did you face that too?
Yeah, and I remember when you tell the story about Tony, when you were brooming the roof, and I imagine you with a big broom, black, because that's how the flat roof looks, black, and trying to sweep that dirt out of the roof. And you asked Tony, what do you think I should do with this? Remember?
And Tony wasn't any smarter than me. He's on the roof with me with the broom, and I would get ideas to start a business. I wanted to buy one of those carts, and my grandmother. I grew up Italian, and my grandmother had this killer sausage and peppers recipe, and I thought, I can sell sausage and peppers on a cart, out of one of those carts down at the strip district. I can make money. What do you think, Tony? Well, what do you think Tony thought? Tony thought that was the dumbest idea. Tony wouldn't know a good idea if it hit him in his face. But we do this all the time. He says, if you are influenced by the opinions, this is line 35. If you are influenced by the opinions of others, you have no desire of your own. Keep your own counsel when you begin to put into practice the principles described here by reaching your own decisions and following them. Take no one into confidence except the members of your mastermind group, and be very selective about this group. Selective in who you choose. Only those who are in complete sympathy and harmony with your purpose. Those are two, if you think about, somebody who is sympathetic, in order to be sympathetic, you have to place yourself in someone else's shoes. And in order to be harmony, you have to be coordinating yourself with that person. This is why I think the work that you do, you have an inner circle where you work with people. I know you coach and mentor people. I lead mastermind groups where I put 15 people together at a time, and we spend a year together. Were you taken off course when you first started? And how did you break the habit of being controlled about what other people thought? How did you overcome the fear of judgment of other people?
Sure, Paul. You know what? And I go back a little bit to line 28, where he said they permit. So I love the word there, permit.
Yeah.
So that means I'm the one who's allowing other people to kind of put their opinion on my life, and I base my life under somebody else's opinion, what other people think I should do. And that's what other people think you should do is what you think you should do. So for me, it is okay, permit. So that means I'm the one who's allowing, or I'm living my life under somebody else's opinions. And that's my free will right there. So I'm the one who chooses. I'm the one who make a decision. I make the decision, either follow the crowd, either on the 7th level of awareness, that's the mass mentality. Either I follow the crowd, or I follow what I think I should do. And that's the best thing I could do, follow what I think I should do. Or, like you just read right now, have somebody who's in sympathy and harmony with my purpose. And this is what I did when I first met you. I kind of, when I heard you the first time teaching, and you were talking about desire, that kind of teaching resonate with me. And I said to myself, this is the person I should learn from. So for me, how I kind of navigate from permitting opinion for other people influence my life was knowing that if I want to be successful in my life, I got to emulate, or I got to hang out with people who's having the result I want in my life. And that's what I did. And I remember I hired you as my private mentor. And I said to you, Paul, I want you to teach me how you learn what you learn. I want you to show me what kind of books you read. And you came to Costa Rica and Spain a weekend with me. And I told you that my request was, I want you to teach me how to study this book. I know how to read, but I don't know how to study. Like there's a certain level of awareness I have, but my level of awareness was like, my understanding was hitting a wall. So I needed somebody to expand my awareness, and you was that guiding for me. So it's very important to have somebody who's from a different level of awareness or different level of success to help you navigate from where you are to where you wanna go. And I remember you start teaching me. You bring Trower, Wallace D. Wattles, James Allen, Napoleon Hill, and Durman Fleet, and you start teaching me word by word. And you ask me, "Do you see that?" I was like, "No." Do you see what he said there? That's how it's. So for me, it was the good thing that I think I made, and the best decision I made was to having somebody that I was in complete sympathy and in harmony with my dream and my goal. Because where I used to live, the people, when they saw me, I started reading leadership book. They say, "Oh, Gerson, you became a pastor now, Gerson? So you're a preacher now? You're gonna preach now, Gerson? Who do you think you are?" So, but the people like you and surround with people who have a similar goals or have achieved something that I want, those, they don't see you like that. They see, and I got in my Think and Grow Rich book, You wrote a note when we were in Belgium. And I said, Paul, can you sign my book? And you said, now is your time, Garrison. You got all you need to be successful. That's the kind of people you got to surround with sympathy and harmony with your dreams and with your goals.
It's so powerful. It is so powerful because, first off, again, our paths are just, because our paths are so much similar, because Patrick did what I did with you. Patrick took me through this book word by word, and he would ask me, what do you think that means? What do you think that means? What did you hear? And, almost every single time, I don't know. He would say, do you see that? I'd say, no, I don't see it. And he would go over it and over it again. And, I was very intentional, as were you. And I think for all of you, true entrepreneurs are very intentional about placing themselves in an environment with people that will help them grow. You flew to Romania. You were with me in Belgium, right? I mean, we've traveled to Costa Rica several times. Our kids have, your daughter and Holly's two boys, we vacationed together. We've had dinner together, Shirling and Holly and you and I. You've been very intentional. We've been very intentional about our relationship, having sympathy and harmony, because you got to be careful about who you let in your group. If you've got people that are not lifting you up, if you've got people that aren't seeing your best, if you've got people who are keeping score against you and reminding you of your failures and not being that voice of encouragement, you've got to let go. He says here on line 42, he says, close friends and relatives, while not meaning to do so, often handicapped one through opinions. I can remember, and I know you know the story, Thanksgiving dinner at my mom's house. I was 22 years old. I was a mess. My life was a wreck. I was a high school dropout. I was doing roofing work, making $4.10 an hour. And here I was at dinner with my family. These were supposed to be my partners in belief. These are the people that were supposed to love me and support me the most. And I said to them, I'm going to start a cleaning company. And like all their forks dropped at the same time. Click, 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 click. And immediately, what do you think, how are you going to do that? You were a failure in high school. You don't understand business math. You don't understand how to market. How are you going to sell? I mean, they piled on. And then my grandmother, like my heart, like my grandmother was my heart. She said, call Ro. That's my cousin Rose. Call Ro. Maybe she can get him in at the post office. My cousin Rose was working as a postal carrier at the time. And my family's biggest vision for me was to be a letter carrier. Not that there's anything wrong about being a letter carrier, but when somebody's saying, I've got this dream, and you say, no, you shouldn't do that. You should do something down. You need to be, controlled, or you need to be in an environment where you've got security, that you can't make it on your own. So he says, close friends and relatives, while not meaning to do so, often handicap one through opinions and sometimes through ridicule, which is meant to be humorous. I mean, we have friends where we cut up with each other and we downgrade. You want to be with people who lift you up. Thousands of men and women carry inferiority complexes with them all through their life because of some well-meaning but ignorant person who destroyed their confidence through their opinions or their ridicule. It is so true, isn't it?
Yes, and you know what, Paul, and what in the last paragraph where you say harmony, that's my daughter's name.
That's right.
And every time I call her name or I'm about to make a decision, the question that I ask myself, it is, this decision that I'm about to make is in harmony with what I want, or is in disharmony? Because if it is out of harmony of what I want, is a no. And it should. And it is true what Napoleon Hill said, close friend and relative. And some of them, people are the one who laugh after you. I remember when my goal was to go to the United States, and I was a street vendor. I used to sell on a light here in San Jose, selling cell phone accessories, whatever it was on the season. I remember now.
So when people were in traffic, you'd run up to their car window and sell them stuff.
Yeah, or cleaning the windows, the windshield, and all that. I did all that. And I remember when 9/11, the airplane hit, the Chinese brought a Boeing 977. It was a plastic airplane, and I was selling the airplane on the traffic light. I was doing that, and I remember an idea came to me. Came that idea, and the idea was, why don't you go to the United States? And we was eating an enchilada that morning, and I don't know, like kind of my thought came out of the mouth, and it is what Napoleon Hill says: keep your mouth shut. And I said, boys, I'm moving to the United States. And they were eating the enchilada, and I can see how all the little pieces came out of the mouth when they start laughing out of me. He said, you are nobody. Who do you think you are? How do you think you don't have the money? You see, you are selling here on the street with us. So you are not going nowhere. So stop dreaming, boy. But they have a special way to do it, to make it feel miserable. And that's the way I feel it. And I said to myself, I'm gonna prove these guys that I'm not the person who they think I am. I'm different. It took me 3 years to get the goal. But what I learned from there was to keep my mouth shut and just working, saving the money. It took me 3 years to save $2,000. Just imagine how hard it was. It took me 3 years to save $2,000 to make my way to the United States. And it's true. I could have let my dream die there on the same traffic light. And I got a video because when I'm driving now in my car, when I go to the beach or when I go San Jose downtown, I still find those people selling on the same traffic light. And I roll down my window and I say hi to them, or I buy something from them to help them, to encourage them. Or maybe sometime I because I have a whole bunch of Think and Grow Rich book. And every time I go out, I carry 2 or 3 books with me, and I give it to them. And next time I drive to, I ask them, "Hey, have you read the book?" "No, I don't have time, man."
Yeah. He says, you have a brain and a mind of your own. Use it. Use it. And reach your own decisions. If you need facts or information from other people to enable you to reach decisions, as you probably will, acquire those facts or secure the information you need quietly, without disclosing your purpose. On page 165, he says on line 64, keep in mind the fact that every person with whom you associate is, like yourself, seeking an opportunity to accumulate money. And if you talk about your plans too freely, you may be surprised when you learn that some other people have already beaten you to your goal, putting into action ahead of you the plans which you've talked about unwisely. Let one of the first decisions be to keep a closed mouth and open your eyes and ears. As a reminder to yourself to follow this advice, it will be helpful if you copy the folly epigram in large letters and place it where you will see it daily. Tell the world what you intend to do, but first show it. It's the equivalent of saying that deeds and not words are what count most. It is so true. This is why, for all of you who are part of this program and part of this community, get yourself into a mastermind group. Get yourself into, you need a trusted circle. You need a group of people that will believe in you, that will see you as you can be, not as you are. See, Garrison's friends didn't see Garrison's potential. They didn't see it. They had built an image in their mind of what Garrison would be, and they couldn't change that image. They were emotionally attached to that. They couldn't see beyond that. But Garrison's spirit inside of him, he could. He knew there was more for him. And you know that there's more for you. You want to surround yourself. Garrison, you have an inner circle program as well, where people can be part of your inner circle, and you do teaching and you do open Q&A, you do mentoring. What do you find people need most when they come to you? Is it Is it that they need a strategy or that they need encouragement and belief?
You know what, Paul, and you are the one who really, I gotta credit you for this, because you are the one who really taught me, and everything I have learned under human potential, I have learning from you, and I have studied you a lot. I transcribe all our conversation we have in mentoring 101, and I really studied those words word by word. And I think you always mention something. Sometimes we gotta act into a borrowed belief, and this means somebody else believing in you, because sometimes you don't believe in yourself, and that was my case. I didn't believe in my case. I remember when you put me in front of 700 people in Romania, and you told me, "Oh, you're next," and I was like, "What? Yes, you're next." And it was about lunchtime. I couldn't have lunch and then because I get sick. I was worried about what I'm going to do. And you came close to me and kind of pounded me on my back and said, "You are ready. I believe in you." And I remember you grab a chair and sit right in front of the audience to see me speak there in Romania. And it's good to have somebody who encourages you, who believe in you, and help you build your self-trust, your self-belief, and your self-esteem. So people, for me, in my case, what I see, people need encouragement, because there's a lot of dream killers outside. Don't even open your mouths and tell them you want to be different, because they kill your dream, man. They hunting for dream.
There are dream vampires, aren't there, man? That is just so true. That is so true. When you now have hundreds of employees, you've got this obviously big business. As you look back, I mean, can you believe where you are now? I mean, are you far beyond what you thought you would reach?
A lot, I gotta say, by 1,000 folds. A lot higher. I never thought I could have been this big, but something deep inside of me, when I was living a struggle life and failure to failure, and I got deported from the United States, I kind of lose hope. There was something inside of me that kept telling me, like, Gerson, they gotta be more for you. Keep seeking, and this is the really nature of who we are. Our true spirit seeking inside of us, seeking to express through us, and within and through us, seeking to be birth this desire. So inside of me, if I look backwards, I'm totally a different person. So if somebody see me, thanks God the people don't recognize me now. You know what? I gotta say to the people here, they used to have a nickname for me. And the nickname was, in Spanish, is Guacala, which is something like kind of is disgusting, kind of want to make you throw up. And so if the people who knew me back in those days, I got to remember then who I was. I got to say, I'm Guacala. I said, no, I'm not the person. So if they don't remember, it's fine. They don't have to. So it's a total different life. I have a happy wife, a happy family, my daughter, a company, employees, they are happy, and I'm living a happy life. And I'm enjoying life. I think that's the meaning of my life, live life. So I'm living life. And I'm kind of fulfilling all the goals that I have set for myself. And I think from now on, my new generation will take a new course. My daughters will take a new different course of life. So I'm happy for that, because I know I'm the one who's making that turning point for my family. Because all my family from me back, they are drunkards. They are people who have an amount of nothing. So now I know I'm making this turning point from now on. And I know my last name from now on will be a different last name. Will be not from a street guy, from an abundant guy. Will not be from a miserable guy living on the street.
That is just so powerful. That is so. What a testament. What a testament. And it really is. You know, he says, indecision, this is on page 174. He says, indecision is a habit that usually begins in youth. It's a habit that takes on permanency as the youth goes through graded school, high school, and even through college without definiteness of purpose. The major weakness of all education systems is that they neither teach nor encourage the habit of a definite decision. Down at the bottom of the page, definiteness of decision always requires courage, sometimes great courage. And I know it did for you. I mean, it would have been, in many ways, it would have been easier for you to stay in the struggle of thug life or street life because you knew that life. You could adapt into that life. You fit in. It was, you knew what to expect. And yet you had the courage to say, I want more from my life. And then the courage to then make all of the necessary decisions. And, you know, you're not done. You're not done making decisions in your life. I mean, this is as good as it is. It's not as good as it gets. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it. Let me just encourage all of you again. If you're looking, you know, Garrison has a fantastic program, an Inner Circle. It's especially if you're a Spanish speaker. I lead mastermind groups. Get a mentor, get a coach. Surround yourself with people who believe in you. Use this community. This is the Empowered Living Community Espanol, the Empowered Community here in the United States, all of it, the Romanian, the Italian platform, you know, the Polish platform, the French platform. All of us at Empowered Living, it's a community of people that believe in other people, that want to support other people, where you're safe to make a decision. Because I think for a lot of people, what holds them back about making a decision is if they make a mistake or if they make a failure. And the Empowered Living community will make it safe for you to make a decision. And if you get it wrong, to lift you up, to learn from it, harvest the good from it, and go on. As we close down here, Garrison, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah. You know, Paul, I want to thank you because I kind of honor you all the time when I have the opportunity, because you have taught me a lot and you have taught me how to really get deep into this material, and my life has changed dramatically from there. And I gotta say, I remember one of the biggest decisions I made recently was kind of becoming your partner. I remember when you used to have mentoring one-on-one, because you do mastermind and mentoring one-on-one, and I used to send my report card all the time. And one of the lines said, I want to be your business partner. I want to be your business partner. I want to be your business partner. So one day you came out and said, okay, talk to this person and discuss how you become our business partner in Spanish. And I remember it was a $250,000 decision. And I made that decision. I said, okay, I go for it. And I remember sending you $100,000 to make that decision, to commit to that decision. And I remember trying to press the send button. I was like, if I'm living this material, I gotta know that successful people make decision quick. And then I said, boom, and here I am, and learning from you. I have the opportunity to be in your inner circle, in your meeting, and it's nice to be surrounded with people who think higher thought than what you think. Higher and put you in a different realm to see different opportunity. I know right now you are launching the Brain Revolution, and for me, it has been a huge opportunity to be around Dr. Amen, Joseph McClellan, and around you and your team, just to see how you structure things, how you work. That's an advantage you can buy with money, and that's the good thing when you surround with people who help you grow. And you are one of those persons. So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for that. You know, when you started Empowered Living, we had 0 people on the How many people do we now have on the Spanish platform?
On the Spanish, on the group, we got 23,000 people, but on our email list, we got 150,000 people. So it's getting bigger. And I'm following your motto. So remember, if you make a post, you send an email. I'm following you, man, because I made a decision. I gotta follow somebody else who have a result that I want in my life, and I'm living life.
Yeah, and you're doing wonderful. I can just tell you again, of all the people that I've mentored and coached through this book, through Think and Grow Rich, I don't think that there's been another person that has walked this book like you have. I thought I was Napoleon Hill's best student, and then I met you, and I realized I've got to keep going. I got to keep reading it because Garrison's catching up. So, hey, thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining Think and Grow Rich, the entrepreneur's journey. Make sure you check out Garrison Calderon. In the comments, we've got a link on how you can connect to Garrison. Reach out to him. A thought that I've been pounding the table on to my team, to the people I'm working with is OQP in 2021. OQP, only quality people in 2021. And you couldn't find a higher quality person than Garrison. So click on the link below. You'll learn all about him. Thank you, Garrison. Thank you, everybody. Be well. Bye-bye.